Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Bad for Baseball, the baddest baseball podcast on the internet, presented to you by Betway. And this one, guys, we've got some MVP races getting down to the wire, apparently, by a writer of the Baseball Association. I didn't think that was possible, but we got to react and talk about it. And then as well, we got to look around the league. What are the teams that are doing really well right now? There's a battle going on in the most competitive, one of the most competitive divisions in all of baseball, the AL Central. That's going down. And as well, some other fun stuff around baseball. We'll talk about it here. I'm your host, Adam Peddle, and right across from me is the other host, Nicholas Paleolog. Nick, how you doing this morning, man?
Yeah, doing very good, man. I woke up, I saw the headline that, apparently the MVP races are close, and I went, what the hell are you talking about, man? This was supposed to be locked up for time now.
I thought it was too. We literally were just talking about it.
Exactly, and apparently there are some arguments as to why that is no longer the case. We're gonna get into it, obviously, folks. But I'll tell you right now, like I'm pretty locked in with my guys, but we'll see where you guys are at the end of all of this. Do you want to dive straight in?
Let's go right into it, man.
Let's dive straight in, baby.
So this all started. Woke up this morning looking at articles. Mike Petriello, love Mike Petriello. He actually goes on, Sportsnet. He over here in Canada talks all the time and breaks down great stats. And again, he's one of the guys that's going to vote for the MVP.
He's got to
vote. He's going to vote for the Cy Young, all that kind of stuff. So
sorry to cut you off. Do you know how many people actually have votes?
Yeah, I closed that tab, but it's about, I want to eyeball like 30 to 40.
Okay.
30 to 40 people.
30 to okay.
I think it's 30 actually. I think it's 30. When Judge won it unanimously, it was 30 So.
Okay.
Or what was Ohtani?
I thought it was more than that. But again, I'm not entirely sure. If somebody knows in the comments, please let me know down below. Just you want to know exactly how much weight his vote actually has. Right.
Well, right. So I mean, hey, he's got a little bit of weight. He knows a lot of stats, and he's a big stat guy. Like whenever he talks, he's a big stat guy. So right now in this article, his argument, he's basing it all off of WAR. And I know you're not so much of a fan of WAR.
We'll get into that in a second,
We'll get into
folks.
it in a second. I like WAR as a nice benchmark to kind of compare people from different positions, right? Like you got like DHs versus, for example, shortstops or shortstop versus pitchers. So it gives you an idea of where they kind of value in their team. But then again, there's other stats that we're about to get into that I think are a little bit more value when you see what they're doing on the field. So his whole thing, he breaks down the top WAR leaders in the AL and the NL. And obviously over in the NL, you've got actually the number one WAR leader, according to Fangraphs, is Francisco Lindor at 6.5.
This is why I hate WAR, folks. This is why I hate it.
We'll break it down. But you got Shohei Ohtani at 6.3. Ellie De La Cruz, 5.9, Keltel Marte, 5.4, and then Marcell Ozuna, 4.3. And I think in this article, he just knocks out like Ellie, Keltel. He actually brings up Ozuna as like a sneaky sleeper, but like it's not even close. Let's be realistic. He really just points it between, or has it between two guys, Lindor and Ohtani. And his whole argument is that, well, Ohtani doesn't play a position. Yes, he's undoubtedly the best player in all of the NL in terms of offense, with literally a 999 OPS, 42 home runs, 42 stolen bases. But Francisco Lindor, he's got the defense, and that's what's bringing up the WAR. His OPS numbers isn't as good at 826. He's got, 25 stolen bases, 27 home runs, so it's still a very good player. But he thinks he actually has a chance at the MVP award because the runs that he saves on his defense, it adds on to his overall value. Go ahead, Nick. Let me hear what you're thinking. Is it closer than we think?
I don't think it's closer than we think, folks. I mean, like for me anyways, it's not close at all. You have somebody who is close to potentially making history and going for 50-50, which is something that's literally never been done before. We were recording something talking about how we just hit 40-40, like 4 or 5 days ago or something like that.
Literally.
And now he's at, 42 and
42?
Like, we're, fingers crossed, going to get there, Like, this guy just keeps going after it right now. Frankie Lindor, don't get me wrong. This is no slight on Frankie Lindor. He is having himself quite the season right now. Even offensively speaking, I got the numbers up here. He's got an OPS plus of 133.
Right.
That's nothing to scoff at.
Right.
Like you are also putting up numbers. You are not putting up Shohei Ohtani numbers, though, man. You are not doing stuff like that, right? I understand that the defense is phenomenal. I do. I really, really do. But this is why this is never going to happen, and this is why he's not going to win MVP, because even though Petriello, weird last name right there, is making a whole argument as to why, it's war and whatever. Well, I went on ChatGPT, and ChatGPT, let me tell you, they know more than we do. They know more than Mike does. I asked them, I said, ChatGPT, please list off the last 10 National League and American League MVPs, and then give me their slash lines and give me their OPSs. All right? So I went through this. First off, there is very few guys who have won MVP in the last 10 years that don't have an OPS of 1 something.
Right.
There is a couple that have OPSs in the 900s, and the lowest one in the American League was actually, I believe it was Josh Donaldson back in 2015.
He was just so clutch, guys.
He was Josh Donaldson in 2015. He had an OPS of 939, so still a good year for sure. And that was just one guy that was down there. Everybody else was like much higher. And then in the National League in 2016, you had Chris Bryant at also 939.
Clutch.
But other than that, like, let me put it this way: the last 1, 2. Actually, that's not true. Paul Goldschmidt in 2022 had a 981 OPS, so he was just down there. But pretty much everybody else is right up there, offensively speaking, as the best players in baseball. Francisco Lindor, you've been incredible at baseball, but you got an 826 OPS. In today's baseball, they are not going to give somebody with an 826 OPS the MVP award. I don't care what your WAR is.
Yeah, well, here's my thing. I mean, offensively speaking, I think we all agree he's the best. Mike Petriello is arguing that this is a crazy stat. Listen to this. He's talking about his defensive runs, like runs created, right? That's what we're talking about. So offensively, just on offensive side, Ohtani has 54-plus runs created, and then Lindor's got 28-plus. Okay, obviously way better, like double the amount of him. But here's where it doesn't make any sense. Lindor has 15-plus runs, Ohtani negative 14. How does Ohtani have negative 14 runs if he's never played defense? How could he be losing your team runs by not playing defense? That's where okay, someone explain that to me in the chat. Mike, if you want to come on the show and explain it to us, because that doesn't really make any sense to me. He's not costing anybody anything. He's literally not doing anything.
Yeah.
So for me, maybe I'm stupid, but I'm knowing that, and I'm like, oh, well, now it's clearly Ohtani. It's clearly Ohtani.
Yeah.
How does that make any sense?
I don't know.
Like, that's kind of sus.
That is kind of sus right there, Mike. Because, again,
Mike?
Like the DH position here, it should be zero.
It should be zero. You're not costing any. You're not on the field. Committing errors.
It's like they're just like, oh, he's gonna suck if he's on here. Let's just give him a negative 15 or negative 14.
Are we comparing him to other guys? That I don't. That's where I don't know.
Yeah,
that's where I don't know, Mike.
Yeah. Okay. Listen, that's a weird one, and again, like, don't get me wrong. I do think the defense is very, very fucking valuable. It really is. It really is. But you know what, man? I like watching guys hit home runs and steal bags. I like watching guys hit home runs and steal bags and put points on the board.
Right.
And that's what Shohei Ohtani is the best in the National League at doing.
Let's make it very simple. Who would you want on your team?
Like,
done.
Duh. You know what I mean? Like
which one would you rather have leading your team in the postseason?
Yes.
Duh.
Yeah.
It's Ohtani. I don't care if he doesn't play shortstop.
Yeah.
I'll find somebody else.
And that's, you know what? Like, I almost feel like maybe this is wrong, but I almost feel like it's a slippery slope because, again, we're Toronto Blue Jays fans. You folks know this if you've been listening to us for a while. We're Toronto Blue Jays fans, and I think about somebody like a Dalton Varsho. Well, are you telling me that if Dalton Varsho had an OPS of 800, he'd be in the MVP race now?
No.
That can't be right.
No.
That just can't be true.
For me, it's like MVP, like, there's also that, like, stardom power, like you sell tickets. Like, you think people are showing up to the ballpark to watch Dalton Varsho? Maybe they are. Maybe they are. I don't know. But, like,
Mike is.
Mike
Petriello is.
Mike might be. So that's apparently, you guys let us know. I don't think so. I think Shohei Ohtani is going to win it by a landslide. I think it's going to get 50-50.
I do think he should win it by a landslide as well.
If anyone's voting for Lindor over Ohtani, I'm sorry.
Well,
what do you
listen, I think that Francisco Lindor should be second or third or fourth, somewhere in that conversation, because I also do think that Ellie De La Cruz and Ketel Marte has been phenomenal, by the way, for those Arizona Diamondbacks.
I think he got hurt. I'm actually not.
Did he actually?
I thought I heard somewhere
that
he got
is
hurt. Let me look it up.
Major blow if he got hurt, because they were surging over there in the desert, right? And if he actually got hurt for an extended period of time, that could be very, very bad.
Unlikely to return. This was yesterday. He got a little hurt.
Oh,
okay.
Jesus.
So we gotta wait and see.
All right. Well, hopefully, like, really, fingers crossed, folks, that guy comes back. Because I was gonna say, I mean, I don't think he's gonna win MVP, but if Arizona continues to rack up wins, in September and everything like that, maybe he could finish second, maybe he could finish third, type thing with the season that he's been putting up right there. So hopefully he's healthy. But this should be a Shohei Ohtani MVP win. And it just, once again, goes to show how much of an animal this guy is, right, when it comes to playing baseball. Because even in the season where he is not on the field defensively and you're just automatically giving him a negative 14 run value for like no fucking
for literally no reason.
Yeah, so we're just spitting out a number being like, you are negative 14. He is still going to win MVP. I love that man. And let me tell you, I love his dog.
Oh yeah, a little shout out to
dog.
Decoy with the absolute strike down the middle. With going out with the first pitch. It was Shohei Ohtani bobblehead night, and Decoy threw it out. Wow, dude, even his dog is an MVP.
Listen, like, who was it? 50 Cent.
50 Cent, yeah.
Like, there's been some terrible first pitches out there.
Yeah,
that's like, a good pitch.
That's a good
pitch. That's kind of better than some people's bullpens. That's better than the Toronto Blue Jays bullpen right there. That guy 100%. Fucking went in there for a strike.
Oh, yeah.
He pinpointed it.
That's like corner, I'm pretty sure, just right on the edge.
Yeah, literally. Like that. You get swings and misses right there, or at the very least a ground out. Shout out to Decoy and shout out to Shohei Ohtani for not only being an animal lover, but training his dog on the same regiment that clearly he is on right now to find the strike zone.
Yeah, literally. Amazing stuff, man. You know what's funny, too? On the National League, there's a lot of guys doing great, like absolutely deserving. Marcell Ozuna, Ketel Marte, Elly De La Cruz. But when you look over at the American League, none of those guys would be in the conversation. The ones I just listed. None of those guys would actually.
Only Shohei Ohtani.
Only Shohei and Francisco Lindor would be in the conversation.
Yeah.
Because over on the American League, looking at Mike Piccirillo's article again, this is the war by Fangraphs, by the way. So war is all friggin' all over.
And
the
that's
place.
Again, let me minor interval right here just to explain how fucking pissed off I am when it comes to war. Because you get Fangraphs war, and then you get Baseball Reference war, and then you get someone else's war.
You know what it is too, and I think I could also add into the argument where it's like, what stats are we really going by here?
I know.
Because there's people who old heads will go, well, what's his batting average?
Yeah.
Well, what's his errors? Like, people are like Elly De La Cruz are not people. Some people aren't going to vote for him or consider his WAR because of all the errors he's made this year for MVP. So we don't know what stat really to go by.
Listen, this is okay. I'll put it this way, everybody. We were on a bachelor party weekend this past weekend, everybody. So it was like right at the end of August, right there. We were on a bachelor party weekend, and on this bachelor party weekend, there was this whole point system, right? It's like you gotta win. Like if you get first, you get like an Amazon gift card or something. But then if you get last, you got to do these punishments and everything like that. Adam had to give a lap dance to the bachelor. It was a whole thing. He didn't finish very well, but legitimately the point system.
I don't understand.
That's the thing.
I don't understand.
The point system, first off, the point system that we were going off of was not revealed to us until halfway through the second day, when majority of the events that contributed to this point system had already transpired. So we had no idea what the point system even was for the longest time. And then when we found out about the point system, it made no fucking sense. It's like you legitimately took all of these random elements and then just spat it into this clown machine, and it just procured some ridiculous
negatives
number.
And positives, and it was weird.
I had no idea where it was coming from. I was like, what are you telling me? I won drunk Mario Kart. Why am I in 8th position right now? That's what war feels like to me sometimes.
We don't know how they do it, where they do it. And
a randomly generated number, negative 14 for Ohtani. I don't know how it's there.
How did that? Yeah, that's just stupid. Someone's got to go. Someone's got to honestly. I bet there's a video out there explaining how it's done, but it's got to be a long video. But regardless, looking over at the American League, the WAR leaders up there, top 5, you got number 5, Jaron Duran is he's low key breaking out.
I was gonna say one of the more underrated players right now in MLB.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think people are talking about him enough.
He would actually be 3rd in the National League in WAR. That's how good he is right now. He's so good. And then you got Gunnar Henderson, who would be 1st in the National League in WAR, 6.7. Juan Soto he'd beat Ohtani. Juan Soto would actually smoke
unless he
Ohtani.
Gets 50-50.
Yeah, because he's got a 7.8, 1 dot OPS. He's smoking right now. Bobby Witt Jr., oh my God, he's got 9 WAR. And then Aaron Judge, no matter what league he's in. He's the MVP of the entire MLB this year.
Right.
He's unreal. 9.5 WAR. So over there, he's actually saying the argument that Judge and Witt are not that close because of how just overtly dominant Judge was. But this is the thing. First, you argue that WAR is going to be a factor in this area.
Yeah.
But then it's like now that his OPS is so dominant, it's not as much as a factor in this area.
I don't agree with any of that because, first off, the difference between Shohei Ohtani and Francisco Lindor in terms of OPS and OPS plus is roughly 200 points. Now, that's the OPS, right? Not quite 200, but closing in on that mark. The same difference is between Bobby Witt and Aaron Judge, roughly almost 200 points. And Bobby Witt is the same, if not better, defensively than Francisco Lindor.
Right.
So what the fuck are we doing here, Mike?
Well, I think he's saying it's simple. 84 runs for Judge, -10 defense, whereas Witt's is 52 offense and 17 defense only gets him to 69, which isn't close enough. So I guess there you go.
I don't know where we're pulling these numbers from at all, man. But, again, Bobby Witt Jr. has an OPS over 1. He is batting .346 right now. I feel like that's something that we are not talking enough about. That is leading all of MLB, right? For all those old heads out there that just like to look at the batting average and the on base, this is your guy right here because he's batting .346. That leads everybody in baseball.
Unreal.
The slugging, so this is another thing too, right? You'd think for a guy that's all contact, well, you're not going to have a whole lot of slug. He's slugging over 600. He's got a slugging of 618, and on top of all of that, 28 bombs, 95 RBIs. Oh, and then he's also stolen 27 bases. This to me is somebody who is, it's very, honestly, it's kind of sad for Bobby Witt Jr. Because in any other year, I want that guy in my team over everyone. Like, you are doing, and then also the fact that you play incredible defense, right? This is a fucking stud here.
See, if Francisco Lindor was Bobby Witt Jr.,
now we can talk.
Actually, I'd say Bobby Witt's the MVP.
Yes, exactly. If it was Bobby Witt or Shohei Ohtani, I think I'm leaning on Bobby Witt, right? I think right now he is the second best player in all of MLB this season.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is unfortunate. I mean, I feel Kansas City fans a little bit because, like, you have your guy, he's breaking out, he's a superstar. It kind of reminds me of Vladdy the first year he broke out. He's like having such an unreal year. But then there's one other guy that's just like, it's just so dominant. There's just no going back from it. And for me, MVP's always been, I've always chalked it down very simple. Just obviously look at the numbers, do your research. But who would you rather have on your team? This is a lot closer.
It is a lot
because
closer.
He offers a lot more value in different areas, like Mr. Francisco Lindor. And he's got the bat, but Judge is just, every time he steps up to the plate, I feel like we're going to win the game.
Yeah, I think this one's a lot closer, again, because, and we've actually had this debate, like I think a couple weeks ago. And I took the side of Bobby Witt Jr., and I still think that there is a legitimate argument for that because, again, like this is the best leadoff hitter in the game for certain. Like if you were like, who do you want leading off for your team? It's this guy 10 times out of 10 because he's going to steal bases, he's going to get on base, right up there with the best of them. On top of that, he's also going to hit home runs. Oh, and let's not forget, he could argue he's the best shortstop defender.
5-tool player.
This is an incredible 5-2 player. However, Aaron Judge might hit 63 home runs this year, so
and
that's a thing.
That's it. Like, you don't need to steal a base. You don't need to have defense.
If you get around all of them every single time,
you just smash it over the wall. There's no need to steal, right?
Literally.
So that for me is just Aaron Judge is a beast, and I do think it's going to be Judge, and I do think it's going to be Ohtani.
As it should.
If everyone stays healthy.
Yes, of course, right? They got to keep doing it there. I do want to talk a little bit about Bobby Witt Jr., but also his team, the Kansas City Royals, man. Kansas City Royals last year, if you could pull up their win-loss record from last year, that'd be great because it has been a massive jump up for the Kansas City Royals, and now they are in spitting distance to win their division. It is very tight. It is between them. It is between Cleveland, and they are looking pretty good, man.
Bro, they were 56 and 106.
Yep.
That's insanity.
Yep.
That's insanity. So looking at their entire team, how did they get from 56 wins to what they at right now? Which is, I think they were tied for first place in the AL Central with the Guardians. They just lost a game. Guardians won a game, so they obviously flip-flopped. But they're at 75 right now, so they smashed last year's record. So, think about who the guys they added. Bobby Wood obviously became an MVP. I look over at their team right now. Vinny Pasquantino is actually starting to become a dude. Like, he's doing a lot better than he was last year. Then they have, like, just overall support characters. Like, you got Perez, who's still doing good this year. The offense it's doing great lately. That's why they've been on this surge. But honestly, the big difference, and they did a lot of sneaky stuff in this offseason, they added a ton of pitching that a lot of guys weren't really thinking about. They traded for Cole Reagans a year ago, and he's breaking out, and he's becoming a great pitcher. Seth Lugo, I think he was on the Padres last year. He's like continuing his great dominance, going from a bullpen guy to an everyday starting pitcher. He's one of their better pitchers on the team. Then you got Michael Wacha solid. Brady Singer is finally hatching it out. Like, they actually got a legit rotation.
That's the thing, man. Like, their starters are right up there with, the best of the league right here. Like, I'm looking at Reagans, Lugo, Singer, and Wacha. Every single one of those guys, the lowest amount of innings pitched there is from Wacha at 139, and the highest is at 172. So on average, they've all pitched around 150 innings. So you are literally looking at, what does that math work out to be? 600 innings from these guys, from those four guys right there. 600 innings so far. Of extremely quality pitching, because every single one of them has a low 3 ERA. That is not something that I would have anticipated from, Brady Singer and Michael Wacha and Seth Lugo.
Never.
Like, I would not have thought that coming into the season. And this is the difference here. This is the difference, is that effectively every single time that one of these four starters gets onto the bump, you are giving your offense an opportunity to win. You look at their win-loss records. Michael Wacha's 11-6, Seth Lugo's 14-8, Cole Reagans 10-8. Right? You are picking up wins more times than not when these guys step onto the bump. So, I mean, it's not like you have a Tariq Skubal level of dominant ace right here, but you don't need it, because top to bottom, it's quality every single time.
And that's going to get you through the regular season. We saw it with the Jays. You get through the last year.
Right.
You see it gets you through the regular season. I am looking at their relief pitching, though. It ain't that good.
I know. Yeah, that is the big problem.
They're 25th ranked in reliever ERA at 4.36. Like, that's the one thing that's going to hurt them if it comes down to the postseason and they're facing Aaron Judge in the 8th and Cole Reagans is out of the game. It's a tie ball game, and they got who God knows what in there. And boink, homer. You left one over the plate. That's going to be the difference maker.
I'm not like, I guess a Kansas City connoisseur or anything. Like, I don't know all of the ins and outs, but I would hope that once you make it into the postseason, that a lot of those guys in that bullpen that have contributed to you being so poor, they're not ever going to see the field type thing. And I know that, it's like, we got to pitch innings and stuff like that. But, like, you are only using the best of your best type of players right here. Like, it's not like you're going to have a Trevor Richards type guy hit the field, unless, of course, like, you really
Well, you can pick him up. He's DFA'd now.
He is. He is gone.
DFA'd.
He is gone.
But, I mean, so basically what you're saying is the game plan is have all your starters go like seven or 8 innings and be dominant. Because, well, this thing is if they start getting, that's the thing about postseason, if they start falling apart early.
Well, if they start falling apart, you're done. Yeah, you're done.
So you have to be perfect.
Yeah, you got to, and the few good guys that you do have in your pen.
Yeah,
get ready, boys. Get ready. Yeah. Your arm's gonna fall off after October, because we are gonna overwork the hell out of you.
It's like I know you weren't like watching this World Series, but it's like when the Cubs traded for Aroldis Chapman and they literally pitched him so much.
Yeah.
Like every other game.
That's what it's got to be.
Like, and like he literally, there was a documentary, Aroldis Chapman's like, I literally felt like my arm was on fire every day.
Well, I'll tell you, listen, man, I haven't seen that documentary, but I would imagine that, after, getting a ring and winning the chip,
it felt great.
he was probably okay with it.
Yeah. Well, he's fine now. He's still old and doing great.
Oh, dude, I mean, Aroldis Chapman's
100.
Probably a Hall of Famer, it'd be close, right? Have to look at his baseball reference again, but like he's been around for a minute, man.
Is Aroldis Chapman a Hall of Famer?
It would be pretty close, man. I mean, think about it too, like just from a velocity standpoint as well. Like that people would find that to be really sexy, having like some of the hardest thrown baseballs in the history of the game, having some incredible years with multiple different teams, winning a chip. It's possible.
I mean,
it's possible.
325 career saves.
That's a lot of saves.
A career ERA of 2.60. He's won 2 World Series, 7-time All-Star.
How many years has he been in the league?
He's been in the league for
12, 13?
15 years.
15 years.
Wow.
I think that's Hall of Fame
All right,
to me,
yeah,
man.
I'd say he's definitely
I
on
think
the ballot.
that's a Hall of Fame guy right there. But I mean, going back to Kansas City right here, yes, it is going to be very difficult if you get into those close, tight affairs, and your starter does need to leave in the 5th or the 6th. But I like what I'm seeing. I think that the Kansas City Royals are arguably one of the more exciting teams in baseball right now, especially with Bobby Witt Jr. What you guys did in the offseason, bringing in some of these players and then kind of transforming their careers and turning them into the guys that you currently have, especially in that rotation, this is like the first domino for me of what I would hope to see, moving forward, right? You look at that American League Central. And the Cleveland Guardians are good, but I still think that this is a division that could be up for the taking for years to come. Like, there's no dynasties in there. There's no Houston Astros. There's no. New York Yankees.
And I think,
could assert yourself as the alpha dominant force.
And I think they're never kind of, no offense, I think they're never kind of will be because they're not like a high, like a lot of these teams don't have like high payrolls because like no offense, like their fan bases aren't as big. They're not as big team. They're not a big market team. Like the Guardians rely on a lot of their youth. The Royals have been from time to time.
They have.
When in 2015, like they had the whole team together and then like they all disbanded, like they couldn't pay for those guys. Then they went to a massive rebuild. Twins literally didn't trade for anybody because they had payroll issues. Like that's why they only traded for Trevor Richards at the deadline. Like they just couldn't do it. And then the Tigers have been from time to time, but I don't know what's going on with them. Actually, low key, while we're on that topic, Tigers.
I know.
Are cooking.
I know.
8-2 in their last 10. No one's talking about it. I saw a post on Talking Baseball. And, like, they haven't been posting about the Tigers at all. And, like, everyone in the chat's like, yo, why is no one talking about the Tigers? Like, they're actually cooking right now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they're 8 games back of the division. And, essentially, you got to overtake the actually, yeah, you have two AL Central teams in the wild card. So you got to overtake the Twins. And they're 4.5 games back.
Well, dude, from a Detroit Tigers standpoint, if you can just finish above 500 at the end of the year, I would consider that to be a W, especially considering you did sell off Flaherty.
Yeah.
And you've managed to hold on to Tariq Skubal as well, who has been phenomenal. I do want to get into that entire conversation in a moment, but I will say about those Kansas City Royals, they got that Patrick Mahomes money now, baby.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's part-time. I think he's part-time
owner. You think Patrick
owner.
Mahomes could fund a winning team on his own? I don't think so.
I certainly don't think so. However, I will say, I mean, I guess the guy's a little busy winning Super Bowls and all that shit.
Yeah.
But when he retires, I could totally see when he retires, like him being one of those guys, because he's just hyper competitive individual, right? Now, getting really deep into like the ownership stuff. I could see him like, turning into one of those guys.
Well, it's wild. Like I feel like with all the ownerships and players, and I like when seeing players trying to get into it, they have to almost like come together and fund a team because like individually they can't do it. They got to get like a group of guys together. Like the whole Jeter trying to like get in there into a piece of the Miami Marlins, and that didn't work out too well.
No,
Jeter was one of the best, So
yeah.
I feel like he's got to get the whole Chiefs squad together, him and Kelsey, and Taylor Swift.
Also, I don't know if it would have any like it would do anything for him, but because he's a Kansas City Chiefs, quarterback and stuff, and they obviously would love him in Kansas City. Maybe they let him in more. Maybe they give him more of a conversation there. I don't know. I'm not sure.
He can do whatever he wants, essentially.
Yeah, the guy's kind of rich, so
yeah,
won a couple Super Bowls as well. But let's talk about that Tariq Skubal in the Cy Young race right now, or kind of lack thereof going down in the American League. This one to me feels pretty locked up.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So there's an article by MLB kind of ranking all the power pitcher rankings or pitcher power rankings, and he's been number one forever. He's dominant. There really is nobody else kind of competing for him in the American League. It's been Tariq Skubal for an absolute minute. And then who else is up here in the rankings? It's literally
Corbin Burns is there as well. He's doing very, very good.
Corbin Burns, Bryce Miller, Ronel Blanco's up there.
We got Seth
Logan
Lugo
Gilbert
up there, yeah.
I mean, but like I think second place is legitimately, it's Logan Gilbert in just terms of ERA.
Right.
And he's not even close. He's got a 309 versus a 258.
Well, I'll tell you in terms of the betting odds, everybody, shout out to Betway. Tariq Skubal's right around that negative 2,000 mark. Corbin Burns is the number 2 guy, and he is up there at like plus 1,500.
Wow,
so,
yeah, it's not close.
It really isn't close. I mean, and this is, this is nice for Detroit Tigers fans and stuff like that, even if you guys don't make playoffs. But if you can have a season where you like finish slightly above 500, and you end up with the absolute unanimous American League Cy Young, who is still only 27 years old, that is going to feel really good. Tariq Skubal is definitely a piece that you can build around. The last 3 years, he has been, arguably, one of, if not the best pitcher in baseball. The only thing that's kind of holding him back from, that title is, well, we've been injured time and time again.
Right.
But now that you're seeing him fully healthy, what he's capable of doing, I mean, the guy's got a fucking 15-4 record on the Tigers. He was the first pitcher to 15 wins. I saw I think it was like John Boy or Talking Baseball or somebody, or maybe it was MLB that posted, Tariq Skubal's the first pitcher to 15 wins. And everybody in the comments was like, because he's on the Tigers, that's actually 20 wins.
Right.
And it feels like it, right? It's like if you were on the Yankees or something, you're at 20-plus wins right now.
About a little bit less, but a quarter of your team's wins is because of you. And we're not even counting the amount of games that maybe they went on to win.
It's you in the regulation of you being out there. It's actually kind of ridiculous that you racked up that many wins on a team that's just slightly over 500.
Right.
So very clearly you are the guy this year. It does get quite a bit closer though when you look at the National League.
Because speaking of 15 wins, right now the guy that a lot of people are saying is somewhat unanimous. Lately it's been kind of changing. It's Chris Sale. He's also got 15 wins. He's 15-3, but he's on the Atlanta Braves. A little bit of a different story there. Yeah. Dude, Chris Sale. I'm looking at his Baseball Reference, man. What a turnaround. His career was ruined in Boston. Injuries, not being able to come back. Didn't play in the COVID year. Struggling. Gets traded. Becomes Cy Young. He's never won a Cy Young before.
No, he hasn't.
And now he's 35, and he's gonna. I think he's 36 now. No, 35 still. He's 35 years old, and he's about to win a Cy Young for the first time. And
maybe
if he continues. Look, he's been unanimous this entire time until you had some guys starting to cook like Zach Wheeler.
Well,
Zach Wheeler's been cooking lately.
I'll tell you right now, from a betting on side of things, things are a lot closer here than they are over in the American League. However, it is still pretty heavily favored. It's going to be a Chris Sale. They got him somewhere around that negative 400 mark right now.
Right.
Whereas Zach Wheeler is number 2 around plus 300-ish. And then you got Paul Skeens kind of rounding out that group right there.
That's so funny.
He is definitely further down. He's at plus 4,000.
Right.
But again, that's kind of just an innings thing. He has been incredible when he's on the field, arguably better than Chris Sale and better than Zach Wheeler. But just from an innings thing right now, it's starting to look like a 2-horse race unless Paul Skeens, comes out and throws a fucking no or something like that.
You know who's also a low-key underdog? He's probably on there too, but Hunter Green.
He's fourth. Yeah,
huge breakout year from Hunter Green, man. And this is what Cincinnati need. I mean, they're not winning too many ball games this year, but dang, they really need that, because when you look at his career, 4.44 in his first season, 4.82 ERA. And then this year, it's an absolute breakout. I don't know what changed over there in Cincinnati for him, but this is awesome because he was always highly touted. He's going to break out. He's going to break out. Good to see him breaking out.
Yeah, 100%, man. And good to see the resurgence of Chris Sale as well. I mean, you look at this career, and as exciting for me as it would be to watch Paul Skeens come up and immediately get it, and
that would be sick.
Don't get me wrong, that would be awesome. A fucking storyline, right? You win Rookie of the Year and you win Cy Young, all
started in the All-Star game, dating Livy Dunn,
legitimately, you are now congratulations, you are going to be on the cover of the show next year, and if you're not, I don't even know what's happening.
He might already be.
He might already be,
what I mean?
right?
That's crazy
because he's that guy right now. But Chris Sale, on the other side of the coin, man, this has been a career of dominance for so long, and you look at that stretch of 2012 to 2018 in Boston, okay, or Chicago White Sox, and then a little bit of Boston at the end there. Cy Young 6, Cy Young 5, Cy Young 3, Cy Young 4, Cy Young 5, Cy Young 2, Cy Young 4. There have been so many close finishes for Chris Sale, so many quality years. This is a player, when I think that it's all said and done, you just want to be able to look back and go, he does have one to his name, right? I was saying the same thing about Garrett Cole a couple of years ago when it's he kept coming 2 or 3, right? It's you just kept being up there.
Right.
But when you look at the body of work, it's okay, we if it was between you and Paul Skeens and you both had the exact same statistics, I personally would give it to Chris Sale.
Right.
Because it's almost like a body of work respect thing. It's like, all right, buddy, like, you fucking earned this one.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah. Do you think Chris Sale's we're talking about Hall of Famers.
I think it's close, man. I think
it's
pretty close, right? Like, you're looking right now, you've pitched almost 2,000 innings.
Yeah.
So you almost have 2,000 innings behind you. You've gotten over the 2,000 strikeout mark. You know, you could, again, like, you know, depends how much longer he wants to keep playing for, because the guy is 35 right now. But there's a possibility you could hit that 3,000 strikeout mark, which is almost a shoe-in for Hall of Fame if you can do that. And a 3.06 ERA on the career, a 14-year career.
Right.
You win a Cy Young, you won a World Series, you've been to the All-Star game 8 times. This is looking pretty solid to me.
It's up there. Like, you know, he was on the pace of being like the Verlanders and the Scherzers. Like, I always considered Sale in that category of that elite company.
Right.
And then obviously the injuries and the fall off for a few years, like 5 years there, 4 or 5 years there.
Yeah, we were out of commission.
We were out of commission. So like that kind of took him out of that group. But like, let's say if he continues on in his career and he puts up some decent numbers, like, maybe he could do it. Is he on I know he's on a big contract right now. How many years does he have left?
I'm not sure about it.
Actually, I think I got it right here. He's a free agent in 2026. So he's going to be on the one more year on the Braves. So if you can do another year, sign like a mini 2-year, 3-year kind of thing, dominate a little more, then yeah. He's in that company for me.
I think he's already like has an argument for sure. Like, I would not be shocked at all, like, if he did, or I guess did not make it, like one or the other. But it's like, you look at some of those Hall of Fame careers. I mean, I was looking at this guy just the other day, just for fun. Actually, I saw a video of him. Not even a baseball player, but Jerry Rice. Okay, and for those football fans out there, again, I'm not relating Chris Sale to Jerry Rice, because Jerry Rice is like
very different,
the best ever, like a wide margin. But like, that guy was putting up 1,200-yard seasons when he was like 41. You know? So it's like, if you're like a true Hall of Famer, it's like you have that longevity to keep going. Like, the age, yes, it is obviously going to slow you down a little bit, but you're still going to do it. So, the fact that he's doing it at 35, if you can do it at 36, 37, congratulations, buddy. You're going to the Hall.
Yeah, I cannot agree more. I want to talk about another team. We've talked about the Kansas City Royals. Another team that's searching a little bit, and it's the Chicago Cubs. And you'd wonder how they're doing it. Maybe it's their hitting. Maybe it's their pitching. They're getting a lot of good contributions on those sides of things. But did you know, Nick, actually, that Taylor Swift apparently is contributing to this team? She didn't even realize it, but the Cubs are winning because of Taylor Swift. Explain to me how that's even possible, Nick.
I guess it's just a love story going on over there in Chicago right now. They have a candle. Apparently it's the Taylor Swift candle. I didn't even know that they had this shit.
I didn't even know.
Imagine being so goddamn famous that you had a candle that is specifically the scent of you.
How accurate is that, though?
What do you smell like?
How accurate do you think that is, though?
It's not accurate.
It's gotta
I
be
would
not,
imagine
you
that
know?
it's like, like it probably smells like fucking lavender and, other stuff that might make
Basic
people
things.
think of Taylor
I'm
Swift.
Taylor Swift.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, like maybe this is what Taylor Swift would smell like.
What
It
would
obviously
Taylor
doesn't smell like
Yeah,
her.
what would Taylor Swift's...
I said it obviously doesn't smell like her.
No, like, but people lighting it being like, she's in the room with me.
Right.
I don't know. But regardless, the candle literally says, this smells like Taylor Swift or something like that.
Yeah, listen, I can promise you, for all those Swifties out there, like Taylor Swift, after she's done a 2.5-hour concert going through all her track lists, I promise you she does not smell very good.
Nick was there. She knows.
I wish I was there, man. Anyways, on a different note, though, they started lighting up this candle, all right? They started lighting up this candle. It was in the clubhouse, everything like that. I guess it probably just a joke to start things out.
Probably
it's
a
like,
joke,
we got this candle.
Oh, it was gifted to the manager. But,
yeah, and it's like, whatever, we'll put this out there. And, fuck, man, like the vibes started feeling good. The boys were like, you know what? Maybe I could be Travis Kelce. Maybe I could go out and date a super rich pop star or something like that. But I do got to play better. I got to pick up some wins. I got to win some. I got to win, my version of the Super Bowl. If I want to start dating my version of Taylor Swift,
to the World Series.
I got to go to World Series.
Yeah.
I got to win this thing if I want to end up with somebody like that. And right now, they're looking like a team that could.
Yeah, man. I mean, in their last, 10 games, they've won 7. Yes, it is. They're on a 3-game win streak. And Taylor Swift brought the boys back to life.
Ever since they started lighting it up, in the past 12 games, they've won 9. That's since they started lighting up the candle, right? So they got a 75% winning percentage once lighting up the Taylor Swift candle. Who knew?
And let me tell you this. I saw this stat today, and it was insane. But, if you guys are not aware, they came back hard last night against the Pirates. Actually, midday game. It was the 7th inning, and the Cubs were down by 7. And something within them, Taylor Swift energy, they started feeling it because apparently they came back. They won that thing 14-10. And this is a crazy stat. Teams that are down by 7 in the 7th inning in the last 7 years, lots of 7s there, are 1,192-0. Teams that are up by 7. So they win every game 1,192 times. They are the first team to do that in 7 years. So they
come
put
back
and
beat the odds there.
That's insane.
That's actually pretty wild, man. Listen, I think I've seen enough. I really think I've seen enough. We got to start setting people up here.
I think so.
I don't know if Taylor Swift is like the GOAT or it's just like pop stars in general, excuse me. But listen, dating Travis Kelce, you got a Super Bowl ring right there. You got your candle in here. Now these guys are surging. Come on, Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
We gotta get on it.
We gotta slide into the DMs, bro.
Or I think Taylor Swift just needs to have her fingerprints all over sports.
Yeah,
because the Chiefs won in the Super Bowl last year. What if the Cubs go on a magic run and win it again? Then everyone's gonna say it's Taylor Swift.
Dude, if the Cubs actually you gotta have a shrine of Taylor Swift in that fucking clubhouse in the city of Chicago. If they go on and win it after lighting up the Taylor Swift candle,
dude, all the sports fans that are hating on Taylor Swift and stuff, it's like, yo, you can't anymore.
No,
you gotta embrace her.
Oh yeah,
I don't care. You don't have to like her music. You just gotta like her name.
Listen, it's as simple as if you can't beat him, you gotta join him.
You gotta.
And if I watch the Kansas City Chiefs win the Super Bowl, and then also the Chicago Cubs with the magic of Taylor Swift's candle go on and have a miraculous comeback and win the World Series, I'm gonna start sending the DMs for my favorite sports players. I'm setting these boys up.
I'm gifting the boys with Taylor Swift merch. I don't care. I'm getting them all concert tickets
on Players Weekend. Your bat is a picture of her face, man. Yeah. And let me tell you, that shit's going 500 feet. You make contact with that.
Oh, my God, bro. That's funny, man. Fun story over there in Chicago.
You got Grimace helping out the Mets, and you got T. Swift coming and helping out the Cubs. Yeah,
this has been a fun year of baseball. I got to be honest.
You got to find your thing, man. You got to find your thing,
but who's not finding their thing? And is adding to why this year is such a fun year of baseball. The other Chicago team. Go to the South Side. Different vibes over there. Because how we've been talking about it. We've been posting a lot on our social media. I think it's just such a fun conversation.
It is really, yeah.
Of the Chicago White Sox, we're like, they're one of the worst teams ever. They are on pace to being the worst MLB team of all time.
Oh, it's great.
There's this article on ESPN kind of comparing them to other teams across sports. But they're obviously baseball's different. The winning percentages are a little higher. There's so many games, but legitimately, the worst team in MLB history was the Philadelphia Athletics, who went 36-117. That is a .235 winning percentage, and the winning percentage by the Chicago White Sox this year is .231. So if they continue at this pace, they will legitimately be the worst team ever in MLB history.
I think I said this a couple weeks ago, and I think I don't know if you believe me or didn't believe me, but obviously it was a hot take back then. But I'm still riding with this, man. This is history in the making right now. They are 1-9 in their last 10, right? And I know this article that we're kind of referencing right now, it's got a bunch of different teams up, the worst teams of every league, and you got the Detroit Lions who went 0-16 and whatever in the 2008. Weren't the Chicago White Sox on a 22-game losing streak at one point?
Oh yeah, something like that.
It's I know that it's different animals, right? The winning percentage is different from baseball and football, but they could have done that.
They could have done that.
They arguably did.
Oh yeah.
So
and better.
Yeah, like
or
they are
worse.
just legitimately so horrendously bad. Like they're not even. They really shouldn't be in this league. You know, like this is one of those squads.
Relegate 'em.
No, seriously. Like actually, people have been talking for a long period of time, right? It's like, oh, maybe Montreal needs a new team.
Right.
Take the Chicago White. You already have a fucking team in Chicago.
Right.
Take the Chicago White Sox. Move them over to Montreal, cut it all down, and start again, right? Like
Right.
we're at that level where you are so bad, you have lost the right to play in this league anymore. You have lost the right.
Yeah, it's awful, bro. So how many games? How many games they have? I think they have 27 games left.
Let me see. 103-31. That means that they've currently played 134 games, 28 games.
28 games. Okay,
Right.
so to get under that mark, I think they can only win 9.
No,
No.
it'd have to be less than that.
20. Sorry, math. No. Sorry, 5.
5.
Because four. That's math pod. That would be 10. 4 of 20 would be 10%, right? Yeah. So then they go in 6. I don't know, something around that.
Okay, 4, 5, or 6 wins. That's
Something
what
like
we're
that.
looking for right
And then
now.
they're the worst team ever. Yo, you know what's funny, dude? I posted this on our social media this morning. They were legitimately about to walk off the game last night. They hit a ball way over left field wall, and like that was the walk-off homer. It was funny. I was looking at the people in the stands too. They were like not even paying attention. They were
Couldn't
like,
care less.
They were like, and then they heard the crack. They were like, huh? What? No way! And then Jankowski on the Rangers reaches over. This is play of the year. I don't care what anyone thinks. This is play of the year because he robbed the walk-off homer way over the bullpen wall, brings it back. They go on. The White Sox go on to lose that one.
Well, listen,
that was nuts.
to become the worst team of all time, you got to have some dramatic moments.
Yes, you do.
You know, like we're all going to need to put our heads together and contribute to making this happen. You know, every team that faces the Chicago White Sox, you need to play your best fucking ball. You got to walk out there like it's Game 7 of the World Series every time. If we are going to make this happen, because, eventually they're going to run into a couple, and you got to make sure that you're saying, hell no.
Okay, I'm looking at their schedule, who they got left to face this year. So they got the Rangers. They're finishing it off tonight. The Mets, come on, guys.
Oh, they got him.
Oh,
They got him.
Orioles, good.
Yes.
Red Sox, they're trying to get in playoffs. You got to spank them. Guardians, oh no, they have the A's. They have the A's for 3 games.
Dude, that's going to be the battle of the
garbage.
last garbage place. Yeah.
Oh, then the Angels are 1-9. Dude, they faced the Angels 6 times.
Oh my God, the fucking Angels might actually ruin this for everyone. They might ruin this for literally everyone. I was gonna bring up, actually, we were talking previously, like what we want to talk about in this show, and I was thinking about bringing up the Angels, just how terrible they were, and then I was like, you know what, they're already down.
They're so bad, but they're so
like,
bad.
Nobody wants to hear about that anymore. You know,
you got to be this bad. You got to be Chicago White Sox level bad for people. Want
like at this, you're 54-79. That's just like
so sad.
just like sad bad. You know, like
Sad
you're gonna
bad.
end up with like 63 wins, maybe. You know, it's like that. You'll be like right there, and it's like, oh, you're just a really bad team, but nobody cares about you.
Dude, after Ohtani left, bro, it's like, how do you even like root for this team?
You did that to yourselves. You know,
did. You
you
butchered
never,
everything.
ever should have let that man go. And if you were going to let that man go, then you should have traded him away for a Juan Soto level haul, or even more than that when you had the chance.
And you would have got it.
You refused to do it either because of greed, because you wanted to sell tickets for, half a season, or I actually I don't know, or just stupidity in general, right? One of those two things, greed or stupidity. But now you are paying the piper right now, and you are not only just one of the worst teams in baseball, but like one of the like most boring too.
Boring and lame. Nothing's going on there. I mean, dude, the Athletics have a better record than you.
Yeah, like honestly,
I actually think they're more exciting.
Me too.
But like Butler is doing amazing.
Right.
Like I like that's an exciting piece. Rooker's is popping off.
Yes, yeah, and you know what? For me, it's like at least the Athletics, like. You guys were supposed to be so terrible,
right?
And you're kind of this underdog story that I'm cheering on, because soon you're gonna have to move. You're gonna have this whole big thing. Like, I'm cheering you on,
bro. Actually, this is crazy. Athletics 4 games behind the Rangers.
I know.
Whoa,
dude. We haven't talked enough about how much of a dramatic fall off the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, we had that conversation like before the deadline,
Right.
and then it's like now we're seeing it again. Like, oh, they actually are ass this year.
Again, the Texas Rangers, man, their fall off has been and something that kind of needs to be studied here.
Yeah.
And we're gonna give them the leeway. Like I feel like if you win the World Series, you get a couple years of leeway where it's like, all right, you know what? You're allowed to be bad.
And
It's
especially
okay.
the second year, the hangover. But I think it's so funny people talk about the hangovers. I think everyone's expecting it out of the gate, and then like, okay, then you'll start to figure it out.
That's the thing.
And they
This
haven't
is
been.
because usually, right, if you go on to win the World Series, you are a very talented team, right?
Right.
You're the best squad that year. You were literally the best squad that year. And you would imagine that in that following year, sure, there's a bit of a hangover. Everybody doesn't have their best off season because they're partying, they're with their families, they're on the links, whatever. But eventually, the talent is going to take over, and that's just something that hasn't happened here for these Texas Rangers, right? The talent has not taken over at any point. They're 62-71 right now. They are 6-4 in the last 10, but they got a winning percentage of .466. So things are not looking good over there in Texas. Again, it's fine, because you do have a chip right now, and at the end of the day, you like whoever that GM is and the owner, you accomplished your mission. You won this league. This is something that some teams have never done, and you just did it. So congratulations, but you are bad now,
dude. They're 24th in OPS and 24th in ERA.
That's wild, man, because their offense was stellar last year. It was
then
incredible.
They got off to a really cold start, and then I know they had injuries, but that was kind of what that was their whole makeup, right? Like they had a bunch of injured pitchers, they had DeGrom, but they figured it out along the way when they won it all. And this year they didn't.
Well, I remember last year I made a couple videos on a separate channel, and I was talking about how they were the best team by a wide margin when it comes to runners in scoring position.
Yes.
They were incredible with runners in scoring position. They were batting like 400 or something like the
Something
next
ridiculous.
best team was like 300 or something like that, and they were like 100 points higher than them. It was ridiculous how good they were with runners in scoring position, at least at one point.
Yeah, I'm gonna see where they are now. Go ahead.
Now it's like clearly that is not the case, and you look at some of the guys that were doing it right. I remember Adolis Garcia last year, because I brought him up a couple times talking about this entire thing. He was ridiculous with runners in scoring position, and obviously ended up with 107 RBIs to go along with it. This season, Adolis Garcia, he's played in 127 games, so he's getting all the playing time. But he's got a 686 OPS. He's batting 224. He does have 21 home runs, but that's down from his 39 last year. Like, he's just really not striking the ball with a whole lot of authority right now, and I felt like last year was the big breakout for him, especially with the ALCS MVP and everything like that. It's just not translating to this season, though.
Yeah, like they're ninth in runners in scoring position average in OPS. So that's
good.
That's something right there. And then also too, they had Corey Seager was like a really big factor. I mean, he's still doing good. He actually is getting a lot hotter now, 864 OPS, but he was like so elite last year.
Well,
almost MVP, but he started off the year hurt.
Injured, exactly. Like his numbers last year were 1,000% MVP. It just, again, came down to you have not played enough games to warrant that. But, yeah, these Texas Rangers, man, again, you do get the benefit of the doubt because you won it last year. But I would hope that the management and everybody like that, now that you have this foundation, right, a foundation that is capable of going all the way, coming up in the clutch moments, it's not, quiet off season and, we won it a year or two ago.
Because they were kind of quietish this last off season.
Yeah,
who they even pull in. I don't even know.
It's like they were doing stuff, but it wasn't major stuff. So I kind of felt like, okay, we accomplished the goal, and now we can chill. No more chilling anymore. All right, you know how difficult it is now to win in this league because you're probably going to finish under 500 after winning the World Series. So go out, get busy. Let's see it again.
Clearly, your strategy was buy.
I keep buying.
Keep buying, guys.
Keep buying, baby.
Guys, that is the end of today's podcast for Bad for Baseball. Number 15, by the way, everybody. Let's go.
Hey, shout out if you've been watching for a while right now. Let us know in the comments down below if you are here to the very end, everybody. I know it's been a long episode. We're talking about everything going on. Stay tuned for more stuff coming out. We'll have clips going out throughout the week, as long as some shorts happening. You guys have really enjoyed the shorts where we go out and we throw some shit at a ball and
we
just
gotta
have
do
some
that
fun.
again. Just
Yeah, I
throw
was gonna
some
say
shit.
clearly we got to do that again because we get so much support on those, so we'll be doing that very shortly. But until then, everybody, thank you so much for watching. Hit the like, smash the subscribe button,
and as always,
catch you next time.
Catch you next time.